So it's not one of those where you say, oh, they meet, fall in love, and live happily ever after. They meet, fall in love, and then the churning starts, where if they can let go of projections and reflections of the shadows of ourselves, that they're going to come loose here. So it's people that trigger that, the shadows to come out. Hey there, welcome back to another episode of taking a look at universal symbolism, imagery, the psychological profiles, and the gemstones of the Sabian symbols of the zodiac. They are the individual pieces and parts of astrology. There are 360 degrees. We're taking a look at 2 at a time. Today we're on Sagittarius and Gemini 7, and I thank you so very much for being here. Without further ado, let's begin with Sagittarius 7. Cupid knocking at the door of a human heart. A mirror covered with a shroud. Rats with ruby eyes. A glowing fairy flies into the room of a sleeping maiden. Books organized by one method and then reorganized by another. The stone for Sagittarius is Paraiba Tourmaline, and the spelling will be in the description. It represents insight, creativity, wisdom, and your voice. It helps us stop being overly critical of ourselves. It inspires and promotes happiness. It speaks to the throat chakra. It helps with all types of speech issues. It helps you vocalize your truth. It is associated with astral travel and lucid dreaming. It also helps clear the mind of clutter, so we can connect to higher realms of knowledge and insight. Number 1, let's talk about the rat with the ruby eyes and the glowing fairy that flies into the room of a sleeping maiden. So this is a degree that wants to wake people up, okay? And the rats have the eyes of rubies. The rubies are the stone of the sun, and that helps the rat that usually, they scurry around at night. Well, here they have the eyes of the sunlight, so they can see right through. It's very penetrating. Also, the glowing fairy flies into the room of a sleeping maiden, so it's wanting to wake people up, see into the darkness, and it's so that Cupid can get through to the heart, wake us up. And the book's organized by one way, so that could be in a relationship. Let's take a look at that. Books organized one way and then rearranged. So you meet someone, you fall in love, and you think, oh, I've met my soulmate, yay, happily ever after. Well, probably, if it is your soulmate, there's a high chance that it could be the type of love that shakes you to your core, because it triggers emotional rebirth, and that means you're going to be like cracked open in a spiritual way. The light comes in, and when it does, you're going to become aware of the shadows that have been keeping you from who you truly are. The book's organized in one way you have a relationship and you think, oh, this is who we are, and then it gets churned all the way up. All the books get thrown off the shelves and then they get put back on. And the Cupid knocking at the door of the human heart. So this is a very romantic degree, but it's the kind of romance that stirs people up, shakes them to their core, and helps them with the biggest love affair, and that is to realize that they are meant to know who they are, to hear their heart and listen to it, and communicate with their own heart. It can bring crisis and emotional chaos. It's that kind of love. So crazy love, crazy love. Denial of what's on the surface is here. So this is someone who wants to keep digging deeper. If you throw logic at this person, they're going to say, oh, well, what about this? What about this? What about this? So they keep finding more ways to go deeper and deeper, wanting to get to the core of something. And what they're after is getting to the core of who they are. So looking far below and beneath the surface of appearances. A highly observant person, ability to remain stubbornly uninfluenced by outside influence, to stay on course and see their way through the chaos. So even though there's chaos going on here, it's someone who is intent upon going the distance and having that challenge to emotional rebirth, seeing that through. Let's take a look at Gemini. 7 Gemini. A well with bucket and rope under the shade of majestic trees. Poetry which sounds beautiful but makes no logical sense. Looking down a well, a man sees far below his own face. A game of chance offering a fabulous prize. A table comes to life and runs away. The stone is limestone, and it will be in the description if you want to take a closer look at this. It encourages purification and reminds us of our innocence. It grounds and centers us and entices healing and positive thoughts. The light-colored helps connect to spirit and balance the aura. The dark is good for grounding and strengthening the root chakra. It gives us overall well-being and balance. It amplifies healing on all levels. In the healing, it can relieve muscle spasms. It is very nurturing and grounding. What I didn't say in the previous degree is this is step 2 of the 5-step process. So this is a contrast. So we come out the gate, we're looking at team activities, social team activities. Here, we're pulling it way back. On this degree, we're talking about man's connection with nature. The pure cold waters come from nature. It rains, it's shaded by the tree, the earth creates a well, and so it's man's connection to nature and spirit, and that there's always a way to survive and thrive with our connections to nature. Previously, we were talking about team building and being part of a social unit team. So this is team, but it's with nature. Also, we are talking about poetry. So poetry is big here, using words that may or may not make sense. So it's taking a look at words and kind of, turning them on their head in a way that shakes people and wakes people up. So this degree on both ends, Gemini and Sag, wants to shake things up. Take a look at something and just throw convention out the window. Use words we know, but do them in an interesting order or a way that doesn't make any sense at all, so that it makes people stop and think, makes people wake up. Man coming face to face with himself. So it can be a little unnerving. I think we're in the unnerving section here. We're deep in the waters of emotions and looking into ourselves, deep within ourselves. We're still like the glass bottom boat was number 1 of all of these, and this is a touchback to that, where we look into the water, we look into the well, and we're looking back at ourselves. We give up expectations and agendas with the way words have been used in the past, and we do what we want with them. And we also have an undying trust that nature always provides for us. It rains, it brings water, I always have food. There's a trust that nature cares for us and that we are part of nature. Our job is to be open to it and say, I know it's here, show me where it is. And, the man knows to go under the tree, put his rope down the well, and he gets pure water. So he knows exactly where to go, but he has to use his intuition to do so. Deep self-analysis, a degree of poetry, and the prize is, we can really learn a lot about ourselves if we can pay attention to our intuition and our emotions. We're still on the paying attention to emotions here. A deep love of occult knowledge, that's the digging deeper part, and digging into, the well, dipping down into the well. that's occult investigation. And that can be astrologers. So this could be a strong degree for astrologers. Artistic, talented writer. There's a clarity of thought and perception. So this person has an ability to tap into emotions and understand them deeply. The water is pure and cold, and so it's crystal clear. It's easy to see through, and we see ourselves clearly here. So that's what I have for you today. I thank you so very much for being here. I really appreciate each and every one of you. Give me a like if you're enjoying this. Subscribe if you'd like more. And until next time, take care.